Hi folks, you're with Tacitus today at your Pushback channel, and thank you for joining this radio live stream. In this essay, I'd like to talk about a number of, and there's been a bit of a run of them, complaint videos about holiday rentals, Airbnb and beachfront holiday, the whole sort of spread, if you like, of renting, of holiday rentals, short-term rentals outside of, say, the standard hotel industry. Now, we've got a fair bit of experience with this, and we've noticed, we've had a fair share of disappointments with getting, things like the Airbnb and things like the holiday rentals generally. I'm not singling out one or the other or anything like that, but the shortcomings or the problems seem to be confined into a fairly narrow sort of area. So I'll mention, I've looked at some of the videos where the complaints are sort of more or less aligned with my own or our experiences with these sorts of holiday rentals. I guess in the first instance, we found a lot of the rentals, particularly during vacation season, are fakes. And in the same way, they try and bait and switch or sell you up or whatever. So there'll be an advert saying, beach house, luxury beach house, 100 meters from beach, 50 meters from beach, and walk to the Golden Sands in seconds. And they've got it all sort of juiced up to attract renters. Now, when it's not advertised on the thing. When you apply, so we're interested in that, we'd like that. We just rented it just 5 minutes ago. Look, we just did it just five minutes ago. But look, I tell you what, Billy Bob, look, we've got another place that's it's only a kilometre away from the beach. That's all, but it's a better price, and so we can offer you that. But the beachfront one, look, isn't that incredible? We just rented it. I mean, wow. Look at that for timing. If you had only called 5 minutes ago, it could have been yours. Now, there's just too much of that happens. If I look at the amount of times I've called and made inquiries of those sort of beachfront properties, I've got almost the same response so many times that's clearly that there is no beachfront property. Their property is a kilometre back, but they've got you on the phone or they've got you on the email. And so they say, look, you have the other one. But there was no beachfront one. Well, I'd like to. What's the address of that beachfront one you had? So I can. Is it in your name? Because I can look up and then they'll just hang up on you, or you'll get a torrent of abuse or whatever. And there clearly is no house on the beach. They're using it as a bait and switch. So we've encountered that a lot. A real lot. So now when we see, there's a certain way they describe these houses. There's a certain way it's written. Nothing to do but take in the sea breezes and enjoy the golden sands. There's a certain sort of way these things are written, and you go, that's a fake. So we're kind of onto it now. I assume some of them must be legit, but just not very many. The bait and switch is widely used, and there appears to be no. I've gone to a few of the websites that run these things, and in a couple of times I've been able to actually prove directly that it's but they're not prepared to do anything. They just want. I get the impression they condone it. If not support it, because none of the websites are prepared to take any action at all. Most of them deny it, and only when you produce absolute categorical evidence do they say, oh well, it could be a mistake. Accidents happen, and so they won't do anything. So now the next tier of disappointment we've had, which mirrors a lot of the videos that we've seen around. Again, there's been a big run of them now, is the failure to disclose key information. So, so some of it's outright misrepresentation, and some of it's sort of right on the borderline. For example, we've got certain criteria we want. For example, if we're doing a bit of a journey, bit of a trip, we got a lot of stuff in the car. We want to make sure that the car is, including computers, because we work, while we're traveling, we'll do some work. So we want the car to be near where the accommodation is, preferably adjacent or close to, or at least down a driveway, and we're preferably undercover. So there's there's one advertised carport or garage or covered area directly adjacent to accommodation building or accommodation room or to your room and this sort of thing. So we get there and find, well, okay, do you mind moving that car so we can use it? Well, no, that's our carport. Well, it says in your advert that there's a car. Oh, no. We said there was a carport. We didn't say that you could use the carport. We said the carport is there, but not that you could use it. No. The way the advert reads is the carport's available to the rent. But it's not specifically stated. We don't exactly say that carport is for you. We don't exactly say that. If you read it the other way that it was available, then that's your problem, not ours. And you get that sort of smart ass bullshit. There are other things that, for example, we took an Airbnb, and they didn't say, and I think they should have, they didn't say that you actually had to walk through the lower floor, that the room, which was nicely decked out and everything, the room's on the far side of the house, and it's quite a big house, but you have to walk through the children's games room, rumpus room, and a lounge room area to get to the Airbnb room. They also have a requirement that you can't wear shoes in the house, so you have to remove your shoes. They also said that you could park, that there was a parking area right next to the access to the room, but in fact there isn't, and the parking is out on the street. And so you have to carry, again, we were doing a bit of a journey, so we had quite a bit of stuff. So we had to carry the stuff in, take our shoes off, carry it into the room, come back, put the shoes back on, go down the driveway, get more stuff, and so on. So you can imagine, I don't, we don't want that sort of hassle. And so I had to go at them and said, look, your advert clearly states, such you don't make any mention of the shoes coming off. You don't make any mention of having to walk through the bottom of the house, which, by the way, they had a few teenage children with their friends. So you got to run past these teenage children playing Xbox and all this sort of stuff. Now, I don't mind that necessarily. But state it in your advert. State it clearly. The room is in the far side of the house. You will be required to walk through 3 separate rooms to get to there, which includes the children's rumpus room, which is frequently in use by our teenage children and their friends. Now, the other thing was they said you've got an ensuite bathroom. There was no ensuite bathroom. In fact, the bathroom was at the opposite corner of the house. So again, if you wanted to use it, you had to walk through they don't want lights on at night, so you have to navigate through the house at night if you need to go to the bathroom. They put the lights out at a certain time. I mean, they had a lot of little micro rules and regulations they expected you to adhere to, none of which were in their advert. So I had to go at them about this, and their first response was, well, you got a room, what's your problem, buddy? So no, fuck you. You do an accurate representation of what's on rent. Had we had those details, had you stated the details, we would not have selected this room. We've picked this room because of the details you provided, and the reality is quite different from what's in the advert. Now, in the case of Airbnb, even if you've got quite a strong and legitimate complaint, you can only get 50% of your money back. And so if you say that you don't want the room, and you tell them to shove it, then you're only going to get 50% back. Now, the problem with Airbnb and some of the others, not only Airbnb, is that you don't know what you're getting into until you arrive. It's only when you arrive. You can't inspect the place beforehand. So it's only when you arrive that you get to see what you paid for. And if it's not how it was represented in the advert, That's too bad. Here's another one. Look, the room was fine. There was no complaints. The room's nicely appointed and so on. No complaints on that. It's the other bits where there was the failure to, particularly parking close and having to walk through that house and taking the shoes off, that sort of thing. It all added an aggravation overhead that, again, had we known about it, we wouldn't have got that room. We'd have picked something else. Now, say the hotel, and I'll just use round numbers here for the sake of it, but say we can get a hotel room or a motel room or something like that for $100. If we can get an Airbnb room for $75, then that's okay with us, and it's convenient, and it's on the way, and but if the aggravation factor is high, that is, having to carry stuff in from the road up a long driveway, those sorts of things, then we'd rather pay the extra $25 and stay in a motel. So that's we make those judgments based on what we're told. So I sympathise with people in the the videos we've seen about complaints about the Airbnb people or other holiday rentals generally. People saying right at the last minute that oh, by the way, you have to pay for this, or by the way, you have to pay for that, which is extra and not stated in the advert. If it's stated in the advert, that's fine. I can look at that and I can make a judgment. Do I want to pay that or not? And I can pick something else or look at an alternative. But when they don't tell you, and it's only either moments before you arrive or when you arrive that you get told, then it's much harder to back out, because then you have to make other arrangements. You've got to hassle the booking company to get the refund. That takes a while. I mean, sometimes these booking companies, they take over a month to process your fucking refund. So anyways, I went to another one where again they said parking adjacent. It turns out that there is parking in the street right next to the entrance, but it's a house that's quite high up on the grade. And there must be 30 plus steps in a very narrow stairwell, and this is in the outside. 30 plus steps, concrete steps, very sharp incline, and in a very narrow. So you can't carry much up there, and you've got to hold it in a difficult sort of angle, so it's sticking out front ways rather than carrying it sideways, and those sorts of things. Now there is parking out in the street, but it's theoretical parking. You can only park if you're a local resident. You need the resident permit. Otherwise, it's quite a substantial fine. Now, there is parking further on down the street, but it's a few hundred meters away, and you've got to then carry the stuff up if you want to bring it in the house or bring it into the room. So, again, I had to go at them. Why didn't you say that the parking isn't available? And that it's only local resident parking? Why didn't you say there's this many steps? Well, I don't know. Why do I have to tell you? You can see it now. What's your problem? And again, they fight back. They push back against it. They don't accept that they have willfully and deliberately withheld information that may be and would likely be pivotal to somebody making a decision. Again, I had to explain to this woman that, look, we selected this. This was an Airbnb again. We selected this Airbnb based on the information in your advert. So if you'd put in there was this many steps and there's actually the parking's hundreds of meters away, we never would have taken this place. I mean, it wouldn't even have appeared on a radar if you'd put that on there. And she just shrugged her shoulders and, well, I don't care what you think. And so that there's that sort of attitude there. Here's another Airbnb one where it's a very nice house, and they've got their own, creek or river. There's like a wooden bridge over it, and it's a very nice, very picturesque house, very nice. And they've got a very beautifully appointed downstairs room and toilet, and it's very nicely done. But again, there's no parking, and they say specifically there's parking when there's not. So there's no parking, and it's a good 200 meters from where the parking is in the street to where the entrance to the room is. And you cross this bridge and you have to go up, not these flights of stairs, maybe 5 stairs a piece, but there's a number, 5 flights of stairs at 5 stairs a shot to get up to it. So I said to them again, and they said, "Oh, well, there's not enough room for us to put that on this. Well, why not have, why not append a Word document or something like that that's got that information in it? Because again, we wouldn't have taken this place if you were if that information was declared." And there's another one where we did the this. Was this an Airbnb? Yes, it was. This was an Airbnb as well. Very nice couple. They were swingers, actually, interestingly, and just gently hinted and suggested, were we of that frame of mind, which we're not. But anyway, they said we have a home and family atmosphere and this sort of thing. So they said, look, we like to get to know the people that stay with us as Airbnb guests. So we'd like you to join us for dinner. And we were going to go out for dinner. So we said, oh, all right, well that's very nice. We thought it would be a bit rude to decline such an offer of hospitality. And I get the impression those sort of people that didn't really get out that much. So I think they wanted to just have people to talk to and so on. So we had to sit down for dinner and say, "Okay, did you enjoy this?" "Oh, it's very nice, thank you." Again, being polite. And then they wanted us to give them money for the dinner, and then that we had to do the washing up because they'd done the cooking. This isn't a fucking Airbnb. So. But this time we could park outside, but the room was actually just like a spare bedroom in the house. It wasn't like it was a separate. They say, the advert read you will have your separate private area with your own bathroom. That simply wasn't true. It was the only upstairs bathroom in the house was the one that they said was your private bathroom, which clearly wasn't. Everybody was fucking using it. So anyway, again, I had like I said to them, look, put whatever you want down, but put whatever you want in your advert, but make it accurate for fuck's sake. Because once that information is accurate, then we can make a decision whether or not we want to stay there. Again, we wouldn't have come here. We wouldn't have rented this place, this Airbnb. We wouldn't have rented it if you'd put all the facts down. Now, sometimes the reverse is true. There was a place where they hadn't mentioned a number of benefits that were there, and we were pleasantly surprised, and we liked those benefits because they suited us, even though they hadn't been mentioned. So you can get it going both ways, but the most frequent one is where the negatives are not mentioned. There was another holiday rental that we were going up in a mountains situation where when we arrived, the people. This was one of the ones where you paid the deposit when you arrived, so they're slightly different. We weren't locked into anything. So they said, "Oh, by the way, if you want to use, it's really cold. It's snowing for fuck's sake. If you want to use the heating, central heating, or any heating, you have to pay an extra bond for it and an extra amount. You've got to pay for it plus give it another bond for the heating." That's what you're renting. You're renting out rental accommodation in the middle of winter with snow outside that has no heating with it. You've got to be kidding me. Now, again, it wasn't in the advert. If they'd put it in their advert, and we had a telephone conversation with them beforehand, if they'd stated that at the outset, there's no way we would have picked that fucking place. So I got annoyed. We both got annoyed, and we just said, "Nah, not for us. Shove it up your ass." And we went. Got back in the car and drove off and made some other arrangements. Paid a little bit more than we'd really sort of planned to. We got a much better place, down the road somewhere. So those are my. So in summary, the complaints that we've got mirror many of the complaints that I've seen online, but it's a failure to declare the details and declare any of the negatives. And some of the people even said to me, "Look, if we state these negatives, as you point out, no one will rent the place from us. So the only way we can make money out of this is by not declaring the negatives and then people have already committed themselves by the time they walk in the door, and it's too late for them to back out. So we've got a captive customer that kind of can't get out of our clutches. I'm thinking, holy fuck, something should be done about that. Jesus. You've been with Tacitus today, your Pushback channel, and thank you for listening.